and the leader of the Taliban movement in Afghanistan gives a rare media interview. As southern Albania slips further out of government control, it's emerged that local military units and police helped rebels seize the town of Gjirokastër and fight off attempts by government forces to retake it. The rebels have seized tanks and deployed them outside Gjirokastër, which is on the main route south to Greece. The deadline in an amnesty offered by President Berisha has expired, with no move by the rebels to surrender. They say they will make no concessions until President Berisha resigns. Our correspondent, Paul Wood, is in Gjirokastër. A short time ago, he sent this report.
Albanian men in Gjirokastër proudly fire off their new automatic weapons, just acquired from the former army barracks in the town. The looting of weapons is still going on, with every available form of transport pressed into service: trucks, ambulances, even mules. Guns, ammunition and even anti-tank weapons lie strewn across the ground, and children as young as 10 can be seen carrying automatic rifles. Local people say that no one is in charge. It's a free-for-all, although everyone is united by a hatred of the government and fear of what might happen if the government comes in to retake the town. The weapons are now seen as essential for their self-defense. Down with Sali Berisha, this man says, as he brandishes his looted Kalashnikov rifle. Everyone in Gjirokastër and in the other southern towns in revolt say their minimum demand is for President Berisha to resign. The Albanian leader has offered new elections after the rebels have surrendered their weapons. But people here will only give up their guns to a caretaker government, if at all, and there seems as yet no way to end this crisis without bloodshed.
And there have been similar scenes in the southern port of Vlora as the rebels extend their control. Our correspondent Peter Morgan is there.
In Vlora, central fortress of Albania's rebel south, the crowds are in no mood for compromise. Military leaders have been elected to defend the city if crisis turns to war. Rebel demands include the immediate resignation of President Sali Berisha and 100% repayment of funds lost in corrupt government-backed investment schemes. Food is short in Vlora, bread is about the only sustenance available, and people are clamouring for that. However, hunger does not seem to have diminished the rebels' resolve. It's the same story across the south. In Saranda, demonstrators demand Berisha must go. 3 townsmen injured in skirmishes with government forces have been treated in hospital there, but there's been no serious engagement between government and rebel troops. The insurgents are certainly not short of armour. Tanks have been seized from an army which chose not to resist. Gunboats have been commandeered and now patrol the coast, guarding against a seaborne assault.
Peter Morgan in Florida, and before that we heard from Paul Wood in Gjirokastër. Demonstrators are expected to return in force to the streets of the Serbian capital Belgrade today to demand reform of the state-run media and improved conditions for forthcoming parliamentary and presidential elections. The march is intended to mark the anniversary of a similar demonstration 6 years ago when 2 people died in clashes with the police. But it will also be the first big opposition gathering since President Milosevic gave in to the opposition's demands last month for recognition of its victories in local elections. From Belgrade, Karen Coleman reports.
Tens of thousands are expected to turn out in what will be the first opposition-led march in Belgrade after 3 months of consistent demonstrations finished. That was after Serbian President Slobodan Milosevic caved into demands to recognize opposition wins from municipal elections in Belgrade and other Serbian cities and towns. But the protesters are still not happy. They're calling for greater reforms of the state-run media and fairer conditions for forthcoming parliamentary and presidential elections. The marches are being held primarily because they come on the 6th anniversary of demonstrations held in the city back in March 1991. Then there were battles with the police. 2 people